So, welcome Natalie and Franzi. How are you going?
We're great.
Very well, thanks, Audrey.
That's good. Now, we'll start with you, Natalie. Tell us a little bit about what you do and who you are.
Sure. I I'd love to start with who I am because I came from the city, daughter of two migrants who came to Australia when they were under 20. So mum and dad got engaged in Mauritius, married over here, and that their migrating experience really defined a lot of what I went for in that a secure career, get a degree, and didn't really know what I wanted to do at all. And I just thought if I study something I enjoy, maybe it'll pay off. So I studied art social science and I had a career in the public service in defence and foreign affairs and did amazing, fun, pinch myself things like traveled and negotiated security treaties around the world. First time I went to Franzi's original country, Germany, and also spoke at the UN and at Foreign Affairs and Trade, did a lot on, anti-chemical and biological weapon disarmament and things like that, that you just think, I can't believe I get paid to do this. But then we were in the middle of the worst drought, which a lot of students might not even remember, but it meant we had to time our showers. You weren't allowed to wash the car. You could only water the garden on an odd or even number, depending on your house. And I thought, what could I do to help? So I went and knocked on the door. I lived in Canberra then, of the National Farmers Federation. And I said, maybe I can do some fundraising or volunteering, because all the news was telling us was how hard this was for farmers. And they said, well, why don't you take a job with us? And I didn't think twice about it. I was suddenly manager of rural affairs for the top national body for farmers. And only once I started did I think, I've never met a farmer, I've never been on a farm. What on earth am I doing here? But they were so generous with their knowledge. And of course, they had me visiting, and there was lots of embarrassing moments, like being on a dairy farm and making a cup of tea and not finding the milk, because of course I was looking for a carton. So really lots of embarrassing stuff, but lots of laughs. And what I learned was that they really needed my skills. I was really good at policy. I was really good at strategy. I'd worked a little bit at Parliament House in Canberra. And all of that was useful for the work that they needed. And all their knowledge was useful for me to be able to do my job. So we created this match, and that led me to then target my next job as in the dairy industry. And I really wanted that job because dairy is in more homes than Coca-Cola. It's in 97% of Australian homes. It's really affordable. It's really nutritious. And it's the only food that we always process in Australia. So we don't just dig it up and send it. We create so many jobs from it. It's so healthy. So I felt really good about that. And of course, when I arrived there, the whole organization was going broke, and I had a huge job to do to create sustainability. And then Coles dropped the price of milk to $1 a litre, which meant farmers weren't getting very much. So suddenly I had a big job on my hands that was far bigger than I expected. So it was a big challenge. I like a challenge, and I love working in a team to solve hard problems. So we did great, and we won a huge amount of awards for the work we did there. But then one of those awards was Telstra Businesswoman of the Year. And then that led me to a career with Telstra. And I ran a couple of states for corporate affairs. And then I did lots of other things. I'm into sustainability, and nearly everyone who's in food and fibre really cares about the planet and their animals. So I did a lot of work in renewable energy, which was so rewarding. And I was the chair of the renewable energy women in renewables in Australia, which was really fun to bring more women into another male-dominated industry. But my heart kept calling me back to agriculture. And I learnt a lot at Telstra around startups. So I did a few things since, but I decided to tackle this job, and I applied for this job because it's basically like a startup. It's working with people that do things that I just love. It's a great match. It's super flexible and it's got a sense of freedom and impact. So we only work on things that we think are going to make a difference for people, for the planet, and for our industry. And so that sits with my values just perfectly. So that's brought me here. And we represent the largest food and fibre area in Victoria by value, the Great South Coast. So Southwest Victoria, we're 20.1% of the employment in the region. So we create them, we're the biggest employer. And we also have a huge skill shortage. So I'm hoping today that if anyone's interested in careers in food and fibre, whether that's as an accountant, 21% of bookkeepers work in food and fibre in Australia, 14.1% of advertising and PR people work in food and fibre, 97.4 people of people that work with animals, obviously, are in food and fibre. 41.7% of scientists. So we want you if you're smart, we want you if you're organised. 10.7% of PAs work in food and fibre. So I'll leave it there, but I'm hoping that people want to continue the conversation. Thanks, Audrey.
I'm after one more statistic, and that is how many females work in food and fibre.
So we're doing a big campaign because actually we are over 48% of the industry in Australia is women. And we've got a big image problem because if people think of a farmer, they don't think of someone that looks like Franzi or me. They think usually of a guy who's older and who isn't necessarily got a smile on his face. So that's not the truth of who and what we are. Mm-hmm. But it is interesting and it's something that we're working hard to change.
Fantastic. Now I'm going to throw to Franzi. Tell us a bit about what you do and who you are.
Before I do that, I just want to thank Natalie. That was a really great introduction about yourself, and it makes me feel very honoured to be sitting on a panel with you. And I feel like, why am I here? So, I work as an agronomist. I basically work as a
so I can get the hang of saying it.
Agronomist.
Agronomist. Okay, continue.
Correct. Well done, Audrey. So yes, I work as an agronomist. What I do is I pretty much work as a farm advisor, and I specialise in plant nutrition. So I've got fertiliser written on my little badge. I work for Vickery Bros. We're a fertiliser distributor in the southwest of Victoria and southeast South Australia. And what I do as the advisor and the sales agronomist, I go around and I test the soil on the different farms, different areas of the farms, or even different paddocks of the farms, and we work out what the fertility is on these different areas, and then I discuss with the farmer what his plans are, what he would like to grow. So my clients are dairy farmers, croppers, beef and sheep, wool growers. So there's a big variety. So I talk to them with what they are aiming to get off the land, like how many mouths do they have to feed, or how much yield are they hoping to get off their land. So we work out what kind of rainfall have we got, what are actually our yield potentials, and then we work out how do we get from where we're at, where the soil fertility is at, and to what's our goal, how much do we want to grow, how do we get there, and that is by applying the right amount or the right nutrient and the right amount of nutrient at the right time of the year. So I basically help the farmer work out those things and essentially try and make his farm more productive and more economical.
Yeah, awesome. So what surprised you the most about working in agriculture, and especially in our region?
What surprised me?
Yeah, about working in our region. You know, we do come from more of a farming area, so what surprised you the most?
Oh, that's a different question. I suppose what surprised me is that there are so many different. Let me start a little bit further from where I'm from. I'm originally from Germany, and I did my studies over there. Went to primary school, secondary school, did my year 13. We've got 13 years over there, unlike here, I think you're doing 12. And then I went for a gap year in Australia as a backpacker, because I didn't know what I wanted to do back in Germany. So I thought I'd take a year off and find my feet a little bit. And I did find my feet, but I found them here in Australia. And so while I was over here, I was working on a beef farm, and I was working on a vineyard and the rose farm in Portland. So I had a lot to do in agriculture, and was working a lot with people whose lives around agriculture. And I found that really here and study agriculture, and I did a diploma in agronomy and agriculture, and then started to work here. So what surprised me is the different opportunities. I think I took my first opportunity, and I've been working for Vickery Bros for 6 years, which has been my first and only job. But it's been, I love it and I don't regret it. But I think the surprising part is now, having been in this industry for so long, is that the vast majority, all the different things people can do, and just the versatility. I think I can't find the right word. Versatility of just you can be a farmhand, or you can be a farm manager, or you can be, like Natalie was saying before, you can be an accountant for agribusinesses. So there's just so many different jobs out there, and I think that's what's surprising.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
people don't think, they think of agriculture and they think of a farmer that is on the motorbike herding cows and that's it, but
Absolutely.
That's not it at all. Yeah.
And as Natalie touched on before, there's a very sort of stereotypical idea of what a farmer is. It's someone who doesn't necessarily have other options for their careers. They are, family farmers, which is fantastic, and it happens all the time. It's the best. But you think of that, a man in his flannels chasing sheep or working on the land, which is, it's still pretty cool if that does happen, but there is so many different aspects. Natalie, tell us a little bit about you grew up a city girl. What went through your mind when you're like, I want to work in agriculture?
So what's interesting is I thought I wanted to help agriculture and play my role, because I love this country, and I was open, and actually it didn't occur to me that I would have a career here. But when they suggested it, I thought, I really want to, it just felt right to say yes. What's funny is my dad was like, what the heck do you know about agriculture?
How did you educate yourself on that?
That's right. Well, actually, I'm really good at knowing what I don't know. So I've worked in transport, energy, telecommunications, defence, foreign affairs, and I've never found an industry better at sharing what they know in a way that doesn't make you feel ashamed for not knowing. So Franzi was able to say that she's got this incredible career where she's got, I hate to think how many clients, but it would be so many clients across so many different industries. And they don't look at her and say, how old are you? Hang on, what do you know? Or anything like that. They trust her that she's the best in her field. So they trusted me. And so you've got the right to ask really dumb questions, because they know I've always loved writing. I've always been good at the subjects of English and literature. I'm a good planner, things like that. And so they sort of trusted that I would be good at other things and that they could share. And the way that I learned meant I've got friendships that feel like families. Like I actually had a farmer, I did a talk at a community group at the end of March, and this farming family, they actually, like, I don't often pay for accommodation. They have me come and stay at their house and things like that. And he introduced me to this room full of people. And he said, oh, we've known Natalie for 20 years. And I was thinking, no, not quite. Like, I'm old, but I'm not that old. But that's how it feels. And even though we talked while I was in certain jobs and then hadn't talked for a while, you build that trust. And because the farm is based at the home, it creates a different connection that you just can't get anywhere else, where you get to know each other as people, and you'll tend to catch up over a coffee, or they'll want to know a bit more about you and you'll get to find out a bit more about them. So it's one of those jobs where, compared to my super corporate jobs, and I've had corporate jobs in agriculture too, it's just that little bit more human. You get to turn up as your whole self. Yeah. So for me, that's really rewarding.
And I think this is a question that both of you could answer. I'm not sure who's going to go first here, but what has been one of the traits that you admire the most with working with clients all across, across Victoria, I guess, with these people that you meeting and you're being welcomed into their home? What's the trait that you admire from sort of the most out of them?
Well, for me, Franzi said it earlier, the versatility. I remember feeling overawed when I was at the National Farmers Federation, and I realised, and I asked them, I said, are you kidding me? And I realised that to run one farming operation, because we're the best in the world, like, the beef industry, the sheep industry, the dairy industry, the grains and cropping industries, aquaculture, every single one of them has a sustainability plan that is far beyond what you can imagine. It's about zero emissions, like it's zero, right? And even the time that I was in dairy, we reduced carbon emissions by over 20% in 2 years, because they don't want to be behind the ball. They want to be leading the world in everything they do. And I realized at one point when I was working on, policy, that they have to be 100% up to date on the animal welfare side. So like a vet, they all run their own businesses. So they've got to have sort of really good accounting and financial management skills. They've got to plan for the future. So they've got to be really good strategic planning. They've got to manage staff. So they employ a lot of people. So OH&S and HR skills. And I was just like, oh my gosh, how did I not know that farmers are amongst the most highly skilled people in Australia? And I felt a bit tired just even thinking about all the things they have to know and think about, when I realized as well that I had a bit of unconscious bias. And you can see I'm dark-skinned, from a migrant background, a woman. So I know about unconscious bias. I've had to deal with a lot of it, but it was one of the first times I realized, oh gosh, I've been bringing this to the table myself and hadn't even realized. So it was a good learning curve for me as well.
How about, I just got a message from Carrie, who of course is working as our tech help. She's just said she wants to go back in time and do work experience with you, Natalie.
Oh, she's welcome. We can do an exchange anytime.
I think everyone is sort of feeling that at the moment, because it sounds like your experience and your knowledge is absolutely incredible. And it sounds like you've had experiences that so many people would never ever experience in their lifetime. And people don't realize how much actually does go into agriculture and into farming and into what comes out of the supermarket, basically. There is so much to it. It's awesome. And Franzi, what about you? What's one of the traits that you admire the most about your clients and the people you've worked with?
I think one of the traits that they have, they're all very honest people. Like you said, Natalie, they let us into their homes, and they've got to open up to us to be able to take some of that advice too. So I think they're just very honest people and good people to be around and be involved with.
Beautiful. And last question for you both to sort of wrap up today. What is something that you wish more people knew about our region? Franzi, we might go with you first.
Oh, just how, yeah, even, yeah, the area is so versatile. We've got the beaches so close. We can go further north to the Grampians, and we have got mountains. Yeah, we've got great, I suppose, as an agronomist, we've got really nice soils and good rainfall. So it's a really good region to be farming in and to do agriculture. So, yeah.
I love it.
Oh, I'm the same, Franzi. I think, and I mentioned, like, it's a huge region. And if I won Tats Lotto, I'd be buying a place, but I think I'd have to buy like 4 places because I was talking before about the amazing coastline of Warrnambool, and it does something to me. But then there's Portland, which is just so phenomenal, and both whale watching in both places. I like,
right,
I like bushwalking and just hugging a tree every now and again. So then I'm like, I'll be in the Grampians. And so there's just so many places, and I love shopping. And unfortunately, I've learned there's very good shopping as well. So that's not good for my purse, but it is really, really fun. There's amazing. I love clothes shopping, house shopping, and food shopping, of course. And it's so artisanal. It's so beautiful. And I think it just reflects that the people that live and work there are happy. You know, they've got balance, they're happy, and it shows in everything they do. So for me, it's very, very uplifting to be able to work with them, and it feels a real honor to be serving them, using my skills towards supporting them. But the way they make me feel, I've never felt more recognized and valued in my life. And I've had, you know, huge teams and all that sort of stuff, and that's my truth. That's why I'm here. Love it.
I love how you just put that in words. That's wrapping it up really nice, and something that I just, feel the same.
That just made it all perfect. Now, thank you, ladies, for joining us today and taking time out of your busy days. I definitely believe that students who are watching from wherever they are will definitely love hearing about your story, and definitely look into what you guys do, as there is constantly jobs out there for young people in both industries, which is predominantly the same industry. I also want to say a massive thanks to the great South Coast Food and Fibre for partnering with us today to deliver this session. You can check them out on their website at southcoastfoodandfibre.com.au. And of course, you can check out lesson plans and resources that are now available for our teachers on the LEN website, which is len.org.au. And of course, we've got another episode next week, and we'll be releasing information for that shortly on Facebook and LinkedIn and everywhere else that you can find out all of the details from. So thank you, ladies. Take care. Good luck with your future endeavours. We know that both of you will be achieving amazing, amazing things with the work you do. So thank you for doing the work that you do.